Hello guys, and welcome to part 4 of our series today. We'll be building a sleek design with floating header. We'll be using the SliverPersistentHeader along with list views to create professional UI that would make your app shine. Starting off from our last project, we would add a navigator to our restaurant card. This will enable us to move from the home screen to the detail screen. Next, we'll create the restaurant details. We'll be using a custom scroll view. This is because it allows us to create customizable list views, under which we'll add the Sliver AppBar. On the AppBar, we'll set the floating to false and panes to 12. We'll also make it flexible and add a background image, which is going to be the restaurant image. Next, we'll add a list view below it. This allows us to see the flexible AppBar in action. Next, we go back to the AppBar and create the back button. This is going to be within the stack in the flexible space. I would like to reuse this back button on different parts of the app, so I would create a custom back button widget to make this back button reusable. On some screens, we might want to have a darker background on our back button. So set the dark background as a boolean, which can be set as true or false, which can enable us to toggle the dark background for our back button. Next, we'll add the info text, which is a text within a blur widget. So using the backdrop filter, we create a blur and add our container widgets. The blur widget covers the whole screen. To constrain the blur to only the container, we use the clip rect widget, which fixes the blur to within the rectangular space. Next, we add a second widget, which is going to be under our AppBar. In this widget, we would add the text, and the delivery time. We would also need the rating and location, so we'll go back to the restaurant card and copy this widget. Since this widget is going to be used in multiple places, let's create a new widget called a rating widget, which is going to take the rating and return the number of stars. We want our rating to have a color of gold when it's active and a color of gray when it's not active. This would help the user have a visual representation of how the restaurant is being rated. So in our row widget, we make sure the main axis size is set to minimum. Then we add our stars for each rating value going from 1 to 5. Since we have our rating widget, we can now replace it into our restaurant details screen. This widget is also used in the restaurant card, so we place it in the restaurant card also. Under the restaurant details, we have a list of categories which are used to sort the categories of items in the restaurant. So we create a SliverPersistentHeader for this. This is a widget which can be modified so it stays in place within the screen, even when placed below a list view. I have another video which explains this SliverHeaderDelegate and you can check it out to understand more. We call our custom delegate fixed header delegate. So within our fixed header, we add a container which is going to hold the list of categories. So we'll use a separated list view for this list. Using a container, we set a minimum width for each item and add a border just below the text to have an underline on each item. From our current design, we notice our information covers part of the back button Whenever we scroll up, we would like to shift this information to the right whenever the user scrolls up. So we add a listener to the scroll view. This checks whenever the scroll offset is below 50, and whenever the condition changes, it toggles the show hidden widgets variable. With this variable, we can change the position of our information widget. So using an animated position, we set a condition which adjusts the left offset of the information widget. The animated position is used so that we'll have a smooth transition whenever this changes. Let's also add some interaction to our title widgets. So on this Sliver box adapt, we check if the show hidden widget is true. Let's work on grouping the products in the restaurant model. So we'll create a function which loops through each of the products, and for each unique category, we add the product item to a map of grouped items. Next, we create a variable in our restaurant details screen, which is going to hold our group products, and we'll call it grouped list. We also create a list of categories. The categories are going to be the keys for the grouped list. Let's restart the application to see these changes. Next, we go to the list view, which contains the categories, and replace them with the actual list of categories. Let's add a category called all. This is going to hold all items in the restaurant. Finally, let's create the list of products. We'll check if the index is equals to 0. The index of 0 is going to be all items. So if the index is 0, we want to display all the items. But if the index is not 0, we'll display the items only in the selected category. So in the list for all categories, we first look through each category. Then for each category, we get the key and display the text. Under each of these categories, we would have a list of the products. So we'll map the products in the grouped list and create a widget for each product. To make the codes more manageable, I'll copy this widget from the grouped lists and create a new widget called product list widget. Here I'll paste the widget which was created to add the product item so that we can access each product for this widget. Next, let's add the title and the description. We'll use an expanded widget to make sure this title and description fills the available space. Finally, we add the text for the price. And I want the description to just be a maximum of 2 lines. So we set the max lines to 2. So let's go back to the product details screen. And we would remove the sliver list and replace it with a builder. So inside the builder, we pick each category. This is based on the selected index. From the selected category, we can get the list of products, which we use to display the product list widgets. We have to add the child count, which is the list of items. This would prevent range error in the UI as is seen in the screen. To make our navigation smooth, we'll use a hero widget to animate the restaurant's image from the restaurant card into the restaurant details screen. The tag will be the restaurant ID. To fix the UI errors on the title, we wrap the restaurant name in an expanded widget. This forces any extra text to move to the next line. So here we can see our nice restaurant UI. We put the animation on the information text, animation on the title, and the sliver header animation. If this video helped you in any way, please subscribe to my channel. I hope to see you next time. Thank you.